In a recent video, I tested the brand new Injora inserts. You can get 4 of these things for 20 bucks. Really hard to pass them up. They offer them in a red hard, a blue medium, and a green soft. At the time, I only had the red and blues, but guess what? The mailman came. Now I have a set of greens, which is the softest spec that they have, and I have an Element Ecto with some dead foams in it. This is going to be a perfect opportunity to test the softest spec that Injora offers in a lightweight vehicle and see how they do. I'm actually really happy with how the foams sit and the cushion in these tires from just, like a head-on perspective. But what we have found is that they're just absolutely dead from a side hill. There's I'm just literally holding them up over here and it's just dead. They just fold under and stay there. And so we've actually had some issues on some recent events where it folded over like that as you try to go around a corner. And guess what? The sidewalls, not super grippy on these tires. So one of the biggest advantages we found with these is they keep that sidewall nice and straight. We're going to get a baseline weight to see where this truck is, front and rear, because of course it'll weigh different front and rear. We will look at installing and tuning these as we put them in. As it sits right here, we are at a total of just under 2,500 grams, 1429 in the front, 1067 in the rear. What's really interesting about this weight is that these green inserts are per Injora designed for a 2 to 3 kilogram vehicle. Well, I'm dead smack in the middle of that. But again, here's the difference. Rear is 1068, front is 1428. When I just recently did this with my Red Cat Ascent, honestly, we were within about 10 grams on the rear here, and I found that the blue with some cuts in them was actually pretty good. The front with my Red Cat Ascent was about 1600, so it's about 200 grams heavier than this Ecto is. And, for those, again, I was kind of able to make the blue inserts work. I'll be curious with these green. Maybe I don't have to modify them at all. Maybe I just literally bolt them in there. Just like we saw with the red and blue spec, these sure do look square in the package. As soon as I took them out, as soon as I started to put them on the wheels, they seemed completely fine. And just having them side by side like this, there's a noticeable difference in the squish, which is really interesting because the dimensions look exactly the same. So it really must be a different material that they're molding these things out of, because they look the same, but oh, it's very different. And here it is just on the wheel itself, so you get an idea kind of, it seems like it rounds it out very nicely as soon as you put it on there. And man, the squish on this is completely different. There's a chance that these are actually too soft for a lot of vehicles that are out there. Really interesting. Let's get them mounted up and see what it looks like on. Look at that. That is interesting looking. Check that thing out. Look at that squish. Oh, man. But now if we roll over here, no sidewall deformation. Oh, but just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit of sidewall deformation. But yet we get the tire squish. We're going to get a lot of contact patch down here to get a good traction. But yet when you lean it over, it's going to keep that shape. So I am liking that. But it is interesting. I am not planning on cutting or modifying these at all. If you watched my previous video, I actually came in here with a pair of scissors and snip, 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 snip. I snipped every other one in both this ring and that middle ring in order to help those blue inserts be softer. Not on this one. I think I'm going to be very happy with this just as it is. And similar to what I did before, I actually measured like the total contact patch. It looks like almost 60 millimeters range. And over here with these Pro lines in it, yeah, probably about the same actually, probably about 60 millimeters. This is an easy way you can tell right here the difference between the front and rear weight, and why it's really important when you're going to do an insert like this to tune it for the weight of your axle, not the weight of your total vehicle. So check it out here on the front. Again, about 1,400 grams, something like that on the front axle here, and you can see just the total squish that we have going on. On the rear, much less, at about 1,000 grams. You can actually see that difference. Feedback from some other folks has been, when it's warmer out, these get softer, and the more you run them, the softer they get. Oh, now this is really interesting as well. Can you tell me which one has the foam in it and which one has the Injora insert? Dude, if I didn't know, there's no way of telling. Oh, you can hear it. Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. Yeah, they're literally Exactly the same. When I did this with the red and blue, they actually ended up being slightly taller. You could definitely feel the stiffness. These are the most foam-like feeling inserts that I've ever had. You almost can't tell that it's not a foam in there. All 4 of them are now installed. They look absolutely perfect. Only thing left to do now is actually test them. Let's get it out there on the rocks. It's really interesting to me out here crawling. You can definitely tell how soft this insert really is, especially on the front here. Remember, we're only talking about like 1,400 grams on the front of this, and you can really see that tire conform over so many obstacles, really providing good grip. But we're about to come hit the side hilling here. I'm very curious to see, does it actually still side hill well or not? These greens do roll over just a little bit, which I'm surprised to see. So maybe there really is still some tuning, and depending on your vehicle, your choice, like exactly what you want to do, blue versus green, exact weight that you have. It's almost like you just need to buy these things and just try them out and tune it and get the ones exactly for your vehicle. Back from the test, and this was really interesting and very telling. My recommendation is for a vehicle of something like the Ecto's weight distribution, total weight, I think the greens are probably too soft. I think you got to go to an even, for the 1,400 grams here on the front, I think you need to go to the blues and then maybe snip them like I did in that other video in order to tune them to the exact softness that you want. I think the greens on the rear of this truck at about 1,000, probably pretty decent, but I think you could snip the blues as well in order to make them that little bit softer. So I think the greens are going to need to be on a very, very light truck, or in a situation where you just want all of the tire deformation. You want all of that massive contact patch, and you're not worried about how much that tire really squishes. There was a lot of times out there in which it seemed like the tire was squished almost all the way into the bead. I think that's a little too soft. I don't know. You know, everybody has to tune to your vehicle, your driving style, your situation, your terrain. Maybe you want that. What I really like about it, though, if you get the slightly stiffer spec, is you can then modify them to make them softer by snipping them out. If you're curious about that, I'll leave a link right over here to the video description where I tested the red and blue spec and did exactly that to tune it for my Red Cat Ascent. If you're interested in buying a set of these inserts, there'll be a link down in the video description. If you buy those with that link, the good news is that you pay the same price. I get a little bit of a kickback to help fund the channel so I can make more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.